Many stories have been passed around about occurrences of ghosts in the sanatorium, some examples being a little girl who was seen running up and down the third floor solarium, Timmy, who was spotted with a leather ball.
Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. My name's Kaylee.
My name is Desi.
Be sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell next to the subscribe button to turn on post notifications. Before we get into this case, we always encourage those who have useful information to any unsolved case, please report it to your local police and sheriff department.
Spooky.
That is wonderful.
Alright, tuberculosis was once a very deadly disease before vaccinations came along and destroyed it. The center of tuberculosis treatments was a place called Waverly Hills Sanatorium, which today is very famous and even has nighttime tours to explain the mystery that surrounds the place. Today we will be diving in deep to uncover Waverly Hills Sanatorium.
The history of Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Tuberculosis ravaged in the United States during the late 1800s and early 1900s. This disease unfortunately killed many lives, including families and sometimes even entire towns. In 1900, Kentucky had the highest tuberculosis death rate in America. 1924, construction of the new hospital in southern Jefferson County began. In 1926, Waverly Hills opened its doors to tuberculosis patients. At the time, it was considered one of the most advanced tuberculosis sanatorium in the entire country.
The tuberculosis treatments during this time, well, there was no actual medicine that was available to treat tuberculosis, so patients were offered rest, fresh air, and lots of nutritious food. Patients who had tuberculosis were separated from those who hadn't yet contracted it. Treatments for tuberculosis were about as awful as the disease. A couple of these are really fucking gruesome. Patients' lungs were exposed to UV light to prevent bacteria from spreading. This was done in sunrooms using artificial light instead of sunlight.
Many patients were placed in front of windows or porches for fresh air cure, no matter the season. So it could be the bumfuck December, where it's freaking cold as hell, and they would still be placed out there.
Yeah.
Old photos show patients being covered in snowflakes. Another experiment that they did for a treatment was that they would place balloons surgically inside the lungs, and then they would fill them with air to expand them. After that, the muscles and ribs were removed from a patient's chest to allow the lungs to expand farther. But as you guys know, most of these treatments did not work, and unfortunately, many bodies left the sanatorium via the body chute. It's estimated that tens of thousands died in the sanatorium, but because records at the time have been lost or were not accurately recorded, we cannot confirm that tens of thousands died in the sanatorium, but regardless, still what happened is very sad and very tragic.
Very much so. But after tuberculosis, in the late 1930s, tuberculosis began to decline. 1943, the medicines had largely eradicated the disease in the U.S. A small jump in new cases occurred after World War II. This was because a lot of soldiers were returning from war from overseas, of course. So many of those soldiers were actually housed at Waverly Hills. In 1961, Waverly Hills closed but reopened a year later as Woodhaven Geriatrics Sanatorium. This was used as an old age home, and it was like completely awful there because they did electroshock therapy, and it was widely used among patients as a treatment. Budget cuts in the 1960s and 1970s also led to very horrible conditions and patient mistreatments. So it was very awful for those old people. Feel bad for them.
Yeah, I definitely would not want to be shocked.
Nope.
That's painful.
It is, though.
In 1982, the state closed the facility for good. Thank God. In 1983, a developer planned to turn the property into a minimum security prison for the state of Kentucky. But because of protests, this never happened. Plans were also made to turn the place into apartments, but there wasn't enough financial backing for this. We all know that money talks.
Yep.
So that's why that was abandoned. And then in 1996, Robert Alberhaski purchased the property in order to construct the world's tallest statue of Jesus. He also planned to convert the sanatorium into a chapel, theater, and a gift shop. But of course, donations fell short, which caused all those plans to be canceled as well. And then in 2003, Charlie and Tina Mattingly bought the property and still own it to this day.
Kudos to them, though, because I'm sure they make a fuck ton of money doing all the shit with the sanatorium.
I'm sure they do make really good money.
Oh, yeah. But by 2001, Waverly had become the local haunted house and became a magnet for homeless people and teenagers who broke in looking for ghosts. Many stories have been passed around about occurrences of ghosts in the sanatorium, some examples being a little girl who was seen running up and down the third floor solarium, Timmy, who was spotted with a leather ball, also another little boy that they've mentioned his name is Bobby, and he tends to hang out on, I think, like the second floor or even the first floor sometimes. He's not as active as Timmy, but still, he's a little boy. They also report seeing a hearse that appears in the back of the building, dropping off coffins, and a woman with bleeding wrists who cries for help, a man in a white coat who is seen walking in the kitchen, and people also report the smell of cooking food that sometimes wafts through the kitchen area, which is weird.
That is kind of weird.
Yeah.
And we all know this floor I'm about to talk to. This floor is very controversial. It's floor number 5. The 5th floor consisted of 2 nurse stations, a pantry, linen room, medicine rooms, and 2 medium-sized rooms. In room
Oh my god.
In room 502, people have reported that they have seen shadows in the windows, have heard disembodied voices, and they have even claimed that some people have jumped to the rest from this room.
Yeah.
In room 502 in 1928, a nurse was found dead. They said that she possibly committed suicide by hanging herself from the light fixture. And then in 1932, another nurse jumped from the roof patio and plunged several stories to her death.
Look, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this seriously, but if I was working in that place with all them TB patients, I'd probably commit suicide.
Right.
I'm just saying. That's so sad, and
sad.
I could not deal with it. Especially if I'm going to get the TB and die myself, I'd rather let me just throw myself out the window, please. Yeah. But, here's a personal story from Kalia herself, about a local place that we have here in town, that's, pretty haunted as well. Maybe not as haunted as Waverly, but it's still, probably one of the most haunted places here.
You guys probably don't know this, but when I was, around 13, 14 years old, I used to go ghost hunting with my dad and my father-in-law, and a few times my mother-in-law would come with us as well. One of the times we decided to go to they were hosting this big investigation party with a bunch of other ghost hunters at Willard Library. So Willard Library is a haunted library located in my hometown, Evansville. And a little background information about Willard Library is the construction for the library began in 1876 and it was completed by 1881. And Willard Carpenter was the one who went to build this library. Before the construction had been completed, he died. His daughter, Louise Carpenter, tried to inherit his trust, but she failed in doing so. And rumor has it she came back to haunt the library and people call her the Gray Lady. But besides the point, there is another ghost in this library. It's a male ghost that stays in the child room. And this ghost apparently does not like children. He's been known to throw books. Anyway, so I was sitting in there with my dad. It was just me and my dad. And we decided to go on Facebook Live. There was a moment where I saw a purple orb and I pointed it out to my dad. And that exact same moment, on Facebook Live, I caught an inaudible male voice on Facebook Live. And my dad was not speaking at that point. So I definitely caught something there, which was really cool. I've been on to a couple other places. Like, we went to the old courthouse / Coliseum, which used to be a prison, and that's where my father-in-law and mother-in-law actually saw a wrestling ring move entirely by itself, which is pretty fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Actually a little bit shaken up by that, because it takes a lot of power to move something like that.
Yeah, that motherfucker probably heavy.
Right.
Hell no.
I will say, though, that Willard Library was one of my favorite ones to do, and honestly, like, it's not as creepy as you think it would be. It was a little bit weird catching a male voice in the children's room, but I never saw anything, like, too crazy. Like, I never saw, like, an apparition. I saw an orb, but I didn't see, like, a full-blown apparition, or I didn't, like, feel like I was being threatened.
Right.
Now, the Coliseum, I will say, that was a little bit sketchy, but again, it used to be a prison, so...
Oh, yeah.
You got some crazy people in there.
But into Reddit comments and Reddit stories of personal experiences for people. This is from Shadow Person 502. This person has actually worked at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. They worked as a volunteer, and they have been on many tours and investigations. They say, I will start by saying this, it doesn't matter who you are or what your beliefs are, things happen in that building that are not explainable. I have seen people get possessed, and I have had something attempt to take control of me as well. I have heard voices with nobody around, I have smelled cigars when nobody was smoking. I have been pushed up against a wall, seen a doppelganger, watched inanimate objects move on their own as well. The most impressive thing to me is when I was doing an overnight investigation with 2 small groups in the building. I walked down to where the restrooms are while my significant other, cousin, and his wife were all standing on the 4th floor along with a couple of people from the other group. My SO is a complete non-believer. She refuses to accept anything as being paranormal. When I walked back up to the 4th floor, they weren't there. I ended up finding all of them on the 2nd floor, shaking. After I walked downstairs, they all saw the exact same thing at the same time. Keep in mind, a couple of them are total strangers. They all saw a very large black shadow move towards them in the hallway, as well as a smaller shadow come crawling on the floor rapidly. My SO, who doesn't believe, was in tears. None of the people in that group would go back to the 4th floor. It really is something to take a total skeptic and let them see something so unexplainable for themselves. Which is wild.
That is
If I saw something on the floor crawling like that, I'd be gone.
Yeah, happy. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Fuck this shit, I'm out. Like, oh my god. Kimberletto commented on this post and said, wow, it must have been so surreal for your friends to see those shadows so clearly. Was the one on the floor crawling a human form? I'd love to hear more about the doppelganger. The OP replied, it was a humanoid form, but it was moving faster than a human could move in that position. I have seen the same figure on the walls before moving like a spider. That's creepy!
That's creepy.
Oh my god. I don't... Ooh. That makes me cringe.
And you want to go there.
I do, but I like stuff like that.
Yeah, it is neat to learn about the history of these places and like investigate, but you gotta be careful.
me, I'm not going by myself. I'm going with people.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm gonna have a group to go with me. And we'll probably only go on like a 2-hour tour, if that.
Yeah.
So
Guided tours are definitely a good way to go.
yeah, that
Unless
way,
you have experience.
Yeah. I haven't had too many experiences.
Even some of like the most experienced people still can get scared. This is from another forum. Okay. So Chopadoo says, my favorite part was when they turned off all of the lights so we could see shadow people. And someone farted real huge and dark silence.
Oh
Imagine that.
Yeah, right.
Just let it rip.
You gotta go, you gotta go. The Nanglader says, I'm not sure if anyone has seen the BuzzFeed Unsolved on the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, but they talked about a sighting of a spirit of a homeless man and his dog. Could this explain the smaller shadow? Biff's wifey said, I just did a tour of Waverly a few weeks back. The tour guide did indeed mention the death of a homeless man and his dog. I believe they were on the 3rd floor in the room next to the elevator. Definitely a creepy place to explore. Shadow Person 502 says that the homeless man was murdered, but nothing more is known about his death. There is 24-hour security and dozens of cameras everywhere now. You wouldn't make it 10 minutes in the building. Also, Tina and Charlie Mattingly live there in the old laundry house. Like, that's connected to the building. Why would you do that? Why would you live there?
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, but me, I would not do that. True. But still, I don't think I'd want to live there.
Now to another forum heading to Waverly Hills Sanatorium tonight. A Lawless 85 says, I visited twice before they got real famous on all TV shows and such. First time I went there a doubter, I thought it was all fake. I even told Tina, the owner, that I didn't believe in ghosts. She just smiled. First 5 minutes of the tour, I was tapped on my shoulder on the 4th floor where most of that activity seems to happen. They challenged someone to walk down in the dark hallway by themselves. Oh my god, this person did it. I was then grabbed on my arm, literally felt fingers wrap around my arm, scared the shit out of me. I played it off to my friends. Then we done an EVP trying to contact Timmy, which is a child that roams around the halls with the ball.
Yep.
We heard a distinct voice of a child that answered us. Then his ball rolled down the hall in front of us. Upon leaving, I was ahead of the group we were in. I witnessed an image of a man in a hospital gown walk through the wall. I ran to the spot where he passed through. Nothing. No hole, door, nothing. Within a week of this visit, I would wake up at night terrors often. Had sleep paralysis and repetitive dreams. Same dream for 37 nights in a row. On the 37th night, I woke up to an image of a man standing in my bedroom doorway. I contributed it all to this visit. I became a believer that day. Gosh, that is terrifying.
Fuck this shit on out. No thanks.
Well, like, as somebody who has had sleep paralysis before, like, oh my gosh.
God.
Yeah, sleep paralysis is scary.
I couldn't do it. I've had it once or twice, and I'm like, oof.
It mostly just happens if I'm, like, really tired and I don't, like, get sleep the night before.
Yeah. Oh, I can see that. I can understand that.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it. Oof.
Walk down the hall by yourself?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I would be like, nope.
Yeah, no. Definitely not. I may be a grown-ass adult, but I'm not that stupid.
No. If somebody tried to push me down the hall by myself, I would grab you and drag you with me.
What? Okay, that's fine. I'll go with you, but like, I thought you were just gonna push me out there by myself.
No, you know, I'm not that messed up.
I was gonna be offended for a minute, like, damn, throw me to the wolves much?
Oh my gosh, this comment. OF being calm. They said maybe someone followed you home. to that
Oh.
Probably. You gotta be careful with that stuff.
No, really, though, you do. Oof.
Don't play with Ouija boards, kids.
Yeah, right. No, seriously, though.
I mean, you can play with them in Phasmophobia, but not in this.
Oh, no. Yeah, definitely not. This Reddit poster, Champagne Witch 93.
Ooh, I like that name.
I know. Person said, heading to Waverly Hills Sanatorium tonight. Every year for my birthday, we go to Waverly Hills, an extremely haunted tuberculosis hospital in Kentucky. I assume if you watch, like, any ghost show, you've probably seen it. I'm super excited, and we're going on the 6-hour tour starting at midnight. And she says, has anybody else ever been there? I saw a post here a while ago, and it freaked me out. And she posted an update to her original one. And she said, I'll just label this by floors. We went to the 2nd, then the 1st, then the 3rd, then the 4th, and the 5th. They stayed the entire night, which is a long time.
It is, but you can definitely do that if you want.
So on the 2nd floor, she says, nothing too crazy happened here until we saw a boarded up door on the terminal side. We went to the room next to it, and the wall had deteriorated enough to where we could go into the boarded up room. So we go into that room, and we see a single child's chair and like 3 balls around the chair. So her husband sits in the chair, they roll the ball, and it comes back to us. Weird, but we figure it was a floor grate or something. Then the ball stops. Then the ball rolls to her sister-in-law, stops, and then rolls to her, who is across the room. And a person was like, oh, maybe it's the uneven floor, goes to the back of the room to check it out. I turn around, and the ball had followed me, my sister-in-law, and my husband.
That's
which
not
is creepy.
weird.
Yeah, right? And
take
so
that ball and chuck it back.
Yeah, no, really.
Like, you want to play catch?
So after that, we go sit at the table in the atrium because we're hot, honestly. This girl from the group walks around and is like, who's looking at us from the window in here? We're like, no one. The picture I linked to is the window she's referring to, and the picture is also one I took immediately, and she said that. This picture is 2 seconds later without flash. I looked at that one and yelped. Oh my god, that's creepy! Oh my god! No, that's creepy!
Oh my gosh, your voice!
Oh my god, it's creepy! Oh my god! She said I would do that too. I looked at that one and yelped. I did though. Showed it to my husband and sister-in-law, and neither one of them were able to recreate it. Ugh, I can't. That's so creepy. Oh.
I don't know what's creepier, the photo or the ball falling.
The photo is creepier, I'm telling you. The first floor was a chill floor. Nothing happened. They went to the body shoot. It was cool. They called their guide, told him that someone was on the 3rd floor smoking and smashing a bottle. We're like, oh fuck. So we go back to the 2nd floor atrium, and 2 guys that matched the exact description are in our group, but the people who weren't with their posse came back like they were with us the whole time. No idea. They had no clue who these dudes were. Yeah.
They were ghosts.
Like just, yeah, maybe.
They want to be your friend.
The 3rd floor was the
So
scariest
come play with
floor.
me.
Oh no. The 3rd floor is the scariest floor. They told us about 2 spirits that were rumored to be on this floor, a homeless man that had bludgeoned to death along with his dog, and somewhat called the Creeper, a shadow that scuttles along walls and whatnot. Here we go. So I'm already freaked out. We walked by the girl from earlier, and she has one of those squawk boxes that spits out oh, it's a spirit box. Okay. That spits out radio frequencies as a way for spirits to communicate. She was talking to a spirit about the Creeper, and here's how the conversation went. Can you show us the Creeper? I did. Who is the Creeper? Was he a patient? Me. Was that you who made that sound earlier? Are you playing tricks on us? Ha ha. Ha ha.
Ha ha ha.
They sit down with the girl and listen to the radio. They look down the hallway and can see the shadow, but immediately got a horrible feeling and got up and moved. Then the girl looks down the hallway and is like, holy shit, do you guys see that? So he sat there staring this shadow down for a good minute or two, and it passes in front of the light of a doorway. Then another. It's coming closer, it seems. Then it goes away.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
I'm the gingerbread man.
And then they went up to the 3rd floor to use the spirit box. They ask if someone's there, and they identify themselves as Ryan. We ask if they know it's a pandemic now, and they say yes. They ask what year it is. 20. And we ask if they like you here, and the next words gave me chills. I'm trapped. And that was the end of that girl's experience. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
The picture really creeps me out, though. I have, like, the...
You're
I
gonna have nightmares now.
Like, did you look at the picture?
I did.
Yeah.
It is creepy.
Like, that just gives me cold chills. Literally.
Did you zoom in? I did not zoom in.
I didn't have to zoom in because it's like you see it.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
No.
Yeah, immediately I was like, nope, I clicked off of it. It's like, I'm out. Don't talk to me now.
So if you guys want to see a really, really hilarious horror movie, you guys should watch Willy's Wonderland. Basically, it's just about... So Nicolas Cage is in the movie, so it's already great. And then it's this old abandoned like kids party place where they have animatronics, and these animatronics are haunted because the people who would dress in these costumes killed kids, and then once they killed themselves, they put their spirits into these animatronics and haunted the place. Would continue killing kids, which is really messed up. But the funny thing about this is Nicolas Cage doesn't even say an entire word in this movie. He stays silent the entire time. He comes across this place and they hire him to clean this place. He's supposed to be a sacrifice, but most of the entire time is him downing a bunch of Red Bulls and then playing a game. After he completes a game, he can go and kill one of these animatronics, and man, he's beating the shit out of them. He's fucking destroying them. But it's definitely a movie you guys have to see. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Shit.
It is. I remember also, like, so many people would tell me that the movie, it was scary, but I decided to watch it. I can't take that shit seriously. The clown and the music, I'm just dying every time.
Oh my god. But Waverly Hills is now a very famous spot, and they offer 2-hour tours, all-night tours, and even do a haunted house during Halloween. Many people experience very creepy things every day at this mysterious place, and I can only hope that one day I get to go explore this place myself. As always, thank you for listening to another episode of Murders, Mysteries, and More. Remember to always keep your eyes open because you never know when you'll end up dead in a sanatorium.